Hi, I'm Marshall Brain, and welcome to part 3 of the Time Capsule video series. In parts 1 and 2, we looked at a typical weekend day in America in 2010. In part 3, I would like to show you what a typical American house looks like in 2010. The house we're going to look at is this one. This is the house that the Brain family lived in between 2003 and 2009. In September of 2009, we moved to a new house. Lee and her parents and I spent 3 months of evenings and weekends on renovations, and this house went on the market yesterday. In 2009, the average American home cost $275,000. It has 2,500 square feet of heated floor space. This house is pretty close to the average. It has an asking price of $335,000 and has 3,200 square feet. Because we've moved out, we had a company stage it, meaning that they've put some nice furniture in the house. This is not furniture we would necessarily pick, but this is normal, typical American furniture in 2010. This house is located in what's called a subdivision, which is extremely common in America in 2010. This is the Lockmere Village subdivision located in Cary, North Carolina. A developer buys a piece of land, puts in the streets, subdivides the land into lots, and then builds the houses. Our lot is 0.23 acres or 10,000 square feet. So let's take a look inside. Houses in 2010 are completely manual. I imagine one day when you walk up to your house, it'll recognize you and slide open the door automatically. That is not the case in 2010. You stick a metal key in the lock and turn the key, then push the door open. This is true of 99% of the houses in America in 2010. Once you walk through the front door, you're standing in a little entry area called the foyer or the foyer. Straight ahead is the staircase. If you turn left, you enter the living room and then the dining room. If you're having friends over, you might sit and talk with them in the living room and serve dinner in the dining room. In our house, the kids often do homework in the living room because it's quiet, and the dining room table often gets taken over as a project area for science fair projects or whatever else is going on. The door coming out of the dining room leads to the kitchen. This is your typical kitchen in America. This first box here, this is called a dishwasher. You put dirty dishes in it like this. Once it's full, you close it up and push a few buttons and wash your dishes. So like you might say that you want to do a normal wash and then press the start button, and it would take it about, 45 minutes or an hour. It would wash your dishes. This is the kitchen sink. You can push the lever that way and you get cold water, push it this way, you get hot water, and it can go, or you can push that button and get a spray. The drain goes down here into this device, which is called a disposal. It grinds up any food that goes down there and sends it through to the sewer. Then over here we have the microwave oven and the stove oven combination. Microwave oven is used for heating foods up quickly, so you might put something in here and then come over here to the control panel and say, I want to, well, first I want to clear it, and then I say, well, I want to go for a minute, 20 seconds, then push the start button, and it would start cooking. And then finally the stove and oven. So a stove, you normally put a pot on one of these things called a burner. This is an electric stove, so you come up here, turn it on high, and then that burner is going to get hot, and you can see, it's starting to heat up. This would get so hot that if you were to put a piece of paper on this, it would just instantly catch on fire. And you can use it to heat up a pot of water or a pot of soup or whatever else you're cooking. The funny thing is, if you forget and leave that on, it'll stay on. There's no safety mechanism on it or anything like that. So if you leave a pot on there accidentally and walk out of the house, it'll scorch or burn or catch on fire or whatever. And this is the oven. Use it for baking things, bread or cakes or muffins or turkeys or roast beef or whatever else you want to cook. You come up here on the control panel and you say, I want to bake something at, say, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and it'll turn on now and it'll start preheating. It might take it 10 minutes to preheat to 350 degrees, and if you look inside it, those black coils at the bottom there will start to heat up, and eventually they turn red hot, and the air inside the oven gets to be 350 degrees eventually. And you might cook, for example, a loaf of bread. You'd stick it in there and you'd cook it for 30 minutes, say, and it would be ready to go. That cancels it and turns it off. This is another thing with no safety device on it. If you leave it on, it'll stay on for 8 days. This hole here is where the refrigerator would normally go. These cabinets that you would put your pots and pans and dishes and food in. This little closet here is normally called a pantry. It would be filled with cans of soup or cans of vegetables. I'll take you to a grocery store and show you what kinds of foods would go in a pantry. That's a typical kitchen. These countertops are made of polished granite. This, by the way, this thing in the middle is referred to as an island. We just had them put in because in America in 2010, if you're trying to sell a house in suburbia, it needs to have granite countertops. As part of the kitchen, you have an area for the kitchen table, and then immediately adjacent to that is the family room. The family room is normally the place where you would have the television set, some comfy chairs to sit in and watch it. This is the downstairs or guest bathroom, a completely typical bathroom in America in 2010. It's got a sink, a toilet, and a shower. So what we're going to do here is just walk up the steps to the upstairs. Upstairs, there are 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a utility room or laundry room for the washer and dryer, plus a big bonus room. This might be a typical kid's bedroom. Now it's completely empty. See, it has a window, 4 walls. On the walls there are plugs, and there are light switches. This switch turns on the fan. This switch turns on the room light. This is the master bedroom. Master bath. This is pretty normal. It has 2 sinks, big bathtub, shower. Little room that holds
holds the toilet, and then the closet.
I just wanted to give you some sense of scale. This room is about 13 by 19. That's a master bedroom. A kid's bedroom might be 12 by 12 or 11 by 11 or 10 by 11, something like that. Let's talk for a minute about paying for a house like this in 2010. Almost every American would go to a bank and get a mortgage. The bank would typically ask you to put 20% down or $67,000. For a fixed rate 30-year mortgage, you can get an interest rate of 4.75% today. So your monthly mortgage payment would be $1,400 per month. Then you would pay $300 per month for property taxes and $50 per month for insurance. That is a typical American house in 2010. In part 4, we'll look at computers and electronic gadgets.